flurry, but this is it. We are doing the thing.
We're doing it.
We're doing the thing. I better mute the phone while we do the thing.
I should probably do that too.
Yeah. So this is not my introduction for Dustin, but just my prayer for his prayer, which is I welcome in all loving beings that are here to participate in this resonance of love, and so appreciate your both reception and activation, and clean perimeters. All can exist. Yeah, here we go. Dustin, it's you.
Okay, here's our opening Easter day prayer. Divine source of all being, on this sacred Easter day, as we remember the transformative journey of Yeshua, we humbly ask for a profound awakening within the heart of humanity. May we be born again in spirit, shedding the limitations of fear and separation, embracing the boundless love that resides within. May we be resurrected into Christ consciousness, rising above ego and division, embodying compassion, forgiveness, and the radiant light of our true self. May we ascend in collective awareness, recognizing our inherent oneness and interconnectedness, lifting the vibration of humanity towards peace, understanding, and the full realization of our divine potential. May the spirit of Yeshua, the essence of unconditional love and unity, permeate every heart, guiding us towards a world awakened in truth and divine harmony. May this prayer radiate through the airwaves and bless and awaken all of existence here and now. So be it, and so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Amen. 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 And women, crystals, water, mountains, sun. All right, so here we are. I'm going to do my introduction. And it might be a bit of a long-ranging introduction, because in a way, we're both trying to figure things out, and I'm realizing I want to face Dustin, and I'm not. So you're going to listen to sounds of me moving around in my mind, trying to get this all together here. Better check my levels. I think my levels are pretty good. So how do I say this? There isn't much that I know about Dustin's personal history. What I know about him is from his presence, and his presence is, for me, in my world, in my life, he embodies Christ consciousness in each daily moment, as much as anyone that I have ever known. And to such a clear and loving degree that it doesn't matter if you've spoken with him or not, it's just radiating from him. And so I know that he's been traveling a lot, and I'm curious about his world travels, but there's also for me a curiosity about how did he get to where he was with his level of inner awareness and frankly Christ consciousness and clarity about it. So there's going to be a bunch of different versions of questions, and I know there's so much here to explore. Let me see what else I wanted to say. Part of another thing that I know about Dustin is that I don't look at Facebook basically ever, except for he was traveling, and his travel writing was so interesting and on point and vulnerable. He, for me, as somebody who really cares about men, really cares about masculinity, really cares about creating an equilibrium within the yin-yang. We are all experiencing this dual polarized world in such a strong sense of harmony and balance that it becomes oneness. To me, he embodies this kind of vulnerable masculine that has continued forward in direct movement towards expansion, with a focus and determination that is incredible. So there you are, Dustin. I'm gonna get
I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you just some basic things that I don't know.
Let's do it.
How old are you?
38.
You're 38. Have you lived in Hot Springs area? Like, how long have you lived in the Hot Springs area?
I've been in Hot Springs since 2019, the end of 2019.
2000.
But I grew up just an hour away in Sheridan, and I've been coming to Hot Springs all my life. We had a condo here on Lake Hamilton growing up, so I've been in this crystal energy for a long, long time.
Okay, that's helpful to know because I haven't understood. So you didn't live exactly here, but you grew up in Arkansas. I mean, there's plenty of crystal energy over in Sheridan. There's plenty of veins.
Yes.
Okay, this is another question that I have. I don't know. I heard this from you or somewhere else. Were you in the military?
I was.
Okay, I would love it if you'd share anything you want to share about that. Ages, experience, what went down.
I was 19 when I joined the military.
And please speak more directly into the mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 19 when I joined the military. It was kind of a pivotal moment in my life where I had been a little rambunctious and mischievous in my life, and so I was looking for a way to calm that down and to become more disciplined. And so my grandfather was in the Air Force, and he introduced me to the military and said, "Hey, why don't you pick one of these to kind of get your life back on track?" And that's what I did. And it was 2005, 2006. It was 2005. At the end of 2005. And
Keep that microphone close. I can't control that. I don't know why that's happening. It's probably those headphones. He's hearing a buzz in his headphones that he's reacting to that you don't, I think, hear online. So just so you know, he's with the military, like we're pressing a little. Sorry, but keep that microphone close to your mouth, and I don't know how to control it. So it's the movement, I think, that does that sound. I don't know.
we'll figure it out.
So which branch did you join?
In 2006, I joined
Oh boy,
the Army.
the Army. Is it getting worse?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, well we're going to what we're going to do right now is that I'm going to play us some music for a bit, and we're going to switch headphones so that I'm not electrocuting his brain as I'm trying to ask him questions. And if you want to support wonderful KUHS, it would be lovely when we have all new equipment here, which I hear is coming. But currently, there's only one pair of headphones that I bring with me that makes sounds that aren't very difficult in your ears. So here we go. Here's some Buddhists, I think. Maybe it's me. They're gone, but we're back. I'm not plugged in, but Dustin can hear me right now. They may be part of the issue. I'm going to unplug this thing. Okay. You can hear me? Is this working? Is this broadcasting?
I can hear you wonderfully.
Okay. So I set myself on fire a little bit in between from the candle, and it smells in here. So Dustin's going to talk for a minute while I plug in my headphones and am able to hear myself and clear the air a bit. Go ahead, Dustin.
Okay, yeah, so I'll continue with my story. In 2000, 6, I joined the military, the United States Army, specifically in the Arkansas National Guard, and I did my training in South Carolina for boot camp, and I did my AIT as an automated logistical specialist.
Automated logistical specialist. What does that actually mean?
Well, for me, it was shipping and receiving, dispatching vehicles, and keeping track of the warehouse.
What was your now I'm off it. Do I sound fuzzy to you, or is it just these headphones?
No,
Okay.
it's just the headphones.
Just these headphones. All right.
Yeah.
We've got one good pair of headphones to share between 4 ears, so you're gonna have to listen to it. Many years. So, did you travel a lot with the military then, or was it all in the U.S.?
No, I was in with the military. I touched down in Ireland, Germany, Romania, Kuwait, and Iraq.
Wow.
I served a year in Iraq during the Iraqi War.
During the Iraqi War. And what year was that?
08 to 09.
08 to 09. See, I'm so out of touch that to me, I don't even know there was an Iraqi War in 08 to 09. Like, is that terrible? Like, you're a veteran of it, and I'm sitting here telling you I didn't even know it existed.
It lasted a long time for sure.
That was when Bush was like, mission accomplished, shock and awe. Was that when he did the shock and awe thing? And he's like, we're going to shock and awe them for 2 weeks, and that's going to make everything better, and then it wasn't better?
Maybe.
So...
But I'll tell you, when I went over there, I didn't do automated logistical specialist duties. I did infantry duties when I went over there. So they put me, I was supposed to be in headquarters, but they placed me into an infantry unit.
Was it a mistake, or was it they
No.
told you one thing and then it became another thing? And
No, they just separated us with what they felt like we would be best at.
So infantry means you were doing what?
For the first 6 months, I was doing tower duty, garden operation, or garden camp slayer on the Baghdad International Airport. There's like 5 bases connected to it, and we was on the outside base to protect the airport and the route between there and Camp Prosperity, which is a very dangerous route.
Camp Prosperity. Is it okay I'm asking this many questions about this? Because I'm so curious. I will be curious for ad infinity about anything, so just so you know. So this is 2008 and 9, and I think of you as a very expanded spiritually person now, and this is kind of midway point. What was your inner world like at that time?
I was completely unconscious of my true self and my natural state. I grew up with still being just naturally a kind, loving, compassionate soul, and a very giving, but I had a distorted reality of my purpose and why I was here and who I was, and so I didn't live from that heart-centered consciousness.
I'm curious because I didn't live it. I don't know what it's like. What were the distortions that you embraced or that were true for you at that time?
Well, the one, we was all separate. That'd be the main thing. That I knew that there was deep down, of course, we all know that there's a inherent oneness to all of life, but I was not aware of that in my daily life, and so I just lived from a state of separation, from ego. How can I can fulfill my desires? How can I be, really it's just, how can I do me?
And your desires at the time. So you're in the military, you've been in for a while, you're in a war. What are your desires?
My desires was to have a better life, because I was, I had been in and out of juvenile system since I was like 12 years old.
Oh.
And so I had done really well in a boot camp when I was 12, and I did that for 3 months, and I really excelled in that, and so that's why I knew that I would be good in the military, because a structured environment I'd do really well in. But if I don't have that structure, I just kind of go wild.
Is it okay if I ask you about your habits? So I don't know, but I want to ask a question, but I don't, like, I'm asking your permission.
What kind of habits?
I don't know. Were there some alcohol
I did all
and
of
that
them.
kinds of thing?
I did all of them.
From the time you were how old?
Like 11.
Like 11. And so that like kind of was part of the juvie in and out stuff? Was that all that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess looking back at it in retrospect, as you're stepping into preteen, becoming a teenager, you kind of go through these stages of trying to find out who you are, and you start having these hormones, and you're trying to connect an identity to a personality trait, and so, just trying to find myself, and I wasn't able to, so what I clinged on to was not so much, I don't know the word, but it definitely didn't fit into normal society culture.
Right. So you knew you were outside, but you didn't know what version of outside, and you kept trying to find one, but it just became trouble, and then you went into the military, and then that was a structure which you excelled at because you're good at structure. This is me repeating back to you and asking you if this is correct, because this is what I'm getting. And then here you are in a war, and is that about right, what I said?
Yeah, absolutely. I had, at a young age, because I wasn't able to reconnect with my true self, the divine essence within, I turned to drugs and alcohol and just being mischievous and acting out, and that was how I was able to, I guess, receive attention, not in a healthy way, but it was something. So, yeah.
And in the military, you were the what guy? You're like the guy's going to make us laugh. You're with all these other people in the military. What's your character you're playing then?
I made people laugh, for sure. That was always a theme growing up, as the mischievous kind of class clown. I love to make people smile, so sometimes I took it a little too far, but,
Do you want to tell a funny too far story? You don't need to, but I would love a story of too far.
Nothing's coming to my mind at the moment.
So what happened? So you're in Iraq. What did something happen?
In Iraq, well, I did the towers for 6 months, and like the first day we got there, we had mortar rounds coming in, sirens going off, alarms going off, alerting us that mortar rounds were being shot into our base and stuff, and so that was kind of a shock, but not so much because we expect. Lost.
Was your gone?
Yep.
Oops. I moved? No, we're both gone. How is that possible?
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear anything. Uh-oh, if you can hear us, we can't hear anything.
I can't hear anything.
What did I do? I pulled this cord. I'm going to put some music on. Oh, maybe. I'm maybe going to put some music on. That's not how I hear nothing. Hello, everybody. I managed to do something wild. And I do apologize a great deal for that loud sound in the. We're resurrecting right now. We just died. Yeah, somehow this cord pressed a button. The button that controls everything was pressed when I went to go pour Dustin water. Alright, and so I'm going to try to make things right again here. Okay, you were not on yet. I'm about to turn you on. Oh my goodness.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Wow. It was incredible. I was like, I'm going to pour him a glass of easily accessible water because I brought all this stuff. And then I reached over, and I guess the cord from my headphones touched the one button that turns off all sound. And it took that little bit to figure that out. All right, here we are. Whoa. That was fun. It was like it blew up. I mean, you were saying mortar rounds. It was like a mortar round just came in, and your brain gets crazy, right? Like, there's all these explosions going on. Were you scared all the time?
Yeah, sometimes I was scared, for sure.
Uh-huh.
It was a new thing to adjust to. It became a normal part of the daily life, but you know what? A lot of times they didn't come in and explode because we had an automatic machine. I forget the name of it. It's not the iTask. It's been a while. It's been 15 years, but over 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a machine that whenever it detects rounds coming in, like RPGs and mortar rounds, and it automatically calculates the location of it and shoots around.
So there's all this high-tech stuff happening all the time.
Most of the
This
time,
was a long time ago.
Yeah, most of the time it took out the target, but sometimes it came in.
So did you end up getting injured in some way at some point? Maybe not in Iraq?
Getting injured?
Yeah, in the military?
No.
Oh, okay. For some reason I had the idea. I didn't know.
Yes.
Okay. So what? So
I mean, I get a disability from the VA, but it's for PTSD. It's not like.
So okay, PTSD. So what? So you got discharged, and what year was that?
2010.
And you had served what? How long had you served at that point?
I just did 4 years.
4 years, and you were like, get me out of here. Or
It was just time.
This was time.
And when I came back from Iraq, I took a job in Mississippi as in the full-time military, training soldiers who were deploying to combat zones, and so I was op forward. So I was constantly getting them prepared for what lies ahead, and so.
So you were in it still. You were still in it.
Yeah.
The mindset.
Yes.
And then then I don't know if it's PTSD set in or like both the PTSD and your awakening. How did those unfold?
That's a good question.
If you want to talk about something else, we can. We're on my line of thinking, and you have a whole amazing line of thinking that he's so prepared, and we have lots of time.
Yeah.
I hope we still have. We have an hour and 15 minutes, but I am happy to go wherever you want, and I want to make sure you're good with where we're going.
Yeah.
So how did PTSD? What was it like for you, and was it a long time? Tell me, what about that?
Well, I won't talk about it too much. So
okay,
but yeah, it's just a thing for being over there for a year and constantly going through these alarms going off and rounds coming in, RPGs got shot over us.
Yeah,
we blew up
so
bombs and stuff.
stressful. The whole thing is so stressful.
Yeah.
And do you think that had something to do with your cultivation of your own spirituality?
Well, I'm sure it had something to do with it. I haven't correlated all the dots of going back through my past. Some of them I've been able to see and reconnect in retrospect, like with my childhood and stuff like that, and teenage years. But I don't feel like I've correlated too much of it military. Though, I mean, it was a very valid experience to get me to where I'm at, to experience being who I am today. And so I'm very grateful for it. And, yeah.
So tell me whatever is chronologically who you are today. I experience as somebody very different than who we're talking about then. So how did that happen? What happened for you? What was your
I'd say like 2014, maybe 2017. 2014, I started going through a shift and transformation. And it had been happening years before, but I think it was really profound in 2014. I had really attached myself to alcohol and drugs, and I was looking for a way to get out of that pattern and that habit. And so I started going to rehab at the VA. Actually, I started going there in, I think, 2012. And yeah, I went back and forth through that because there was years of trauma and pain and attachment to identity and trauma. And it took many years. I think I went back and forth to the VA, the PTSD and drug abuse, like 12 or 13 different times.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hopefulness, and then I messed it up, or I don't know. I can't imagine what that's like. That sounds really hard.
Well, it became like a safe place for me to get away from what I was creating in my life, which was just pure distortion. So I knew that deep down in our soul, we all know that there's so much more. And so each time I went, I think it was my soul like pulling me back, like, hey, we got to go this way, we got to stop this.
So were there spiritual elements to the rehab you were going to?
No, not until I think, in 2020, maybe not 2017, they started introducing Eastern philosophy techniques and incorporating that into the VA system, which is a big deal. So, but they didn't see it as like a religious thing. It's just these Eastern practices are natural techniques that we can use to bring us back to center.
So what were you introduced to more or less exactly that kind of...
Well, I'll tell you what helped me shift.
Yeah.
And this was in the big shift. I think it was like 2017. I'd found this book called I Am Something. I Am Something I Am. Good? Okay. And it helped me rewire my thinking from thinking that I'm not the creator of my reality. Meaning what I experience is because of what's inside of me and what's going through my mind and my brain and stuff, and that's projected outwardly and on a screen, and we get to see it. And so I finally started connecting those dots and realizing that, hey, I can shift this. It's been me this whole time. Like, what?
Yeah.
Nobody told me.
What emotions when you realized that, what emotions came up for you?
Well, I'd say it's just a sense of clarity, remembrance, peace. Yeah, and it was an evolving thing. So I got into, in 2019, because I was still going back to my addictions and stuff.
Yeah, it takes a while.
I'd go back and forth, and nobody understood why, including myself. But I was on my path and figuring it out. And so in 2019, I reconnected with psychedelics, plant medicines, and meditation. And these things profoundly shifted my reality and completely broke down what I thought was reality. Just completely shattered that. And so, wow. I was like, yeah, more please.
Shattered more.
More. Dissolve the ego, dissolve the false self. And even that, it came with because there's so many different ways to do it, and they also can be addictive. And given my background, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't using them in the wrong way.
Totally. I mean that's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
A lot of trust. Like, you're showing so much trust right now. I just want to take a moment to appreciate the amount of trust you're showing in this moment, sharing all of this stuff about yourself. It's really a big deal. It's amazing, and I honor it so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the only way we can help others is by being real. I could get on here and be fake, but that wouldn't resonate with anybody, and it wouldn't help anybody move into beyond the ego self, or realize that there's something more. There's another way. So only by being real and leading with love can we make a transformation in the world.
What I have to look at the time and see, because I have to say it. Oh, we've got 7 minutes till I have to say the thing. So how did you navigate having a essentially detrimental relationship to what we would use a general term of drugs, to trusting these plants in such a way that I recognize them as medicine and am responsible, and knowing they are key. They're just a key. They're not the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
How'd you navigate that?
Trial and error. Lots of it. I started doing them by myself, and so I was just navigating it by myself with trust and spirit, and that I was being led into something greater than what I had known before, and it just felt right. And synchronicities kept happening, signs, numbers, meeting people. It all just kept aligning, and so I'm like, yeah, okay, wink, wink, here we go.
Did you already have a friend support network? Because with from what I understand, I haven't experienced this myself. From what I understand, part of the issue with getting away from addictive kinds of behaviors is that many people you know and love are also in that, and so it becomes confusing. So how did you already have a support network in terms of friends that were doing the same thing or learning in the same way, or was it like it felt like you were a solo astronaut?
I was a solo astronaut.
Yeah, like totally solo.
Yeah, because I was still, at that time, when I started getting back into it, I was going back and forth to the VA, and I'd been off and on with amphetamines and stuff like that, and opiates, and in 2019 I was still doing amphetamines, so at the beginning of it, and when I got my hands on DMT and LSD and psilocybin,
wow.
It was over. It took 2 months, and I completely dropped that habit of amphetamines that I'd been on off and on for 20 years.
Wow. Wow. And you did it solo.
I did it solo, yeah. And like you said, I was our environment. My environment was totally. That's all that was in my environment with those kind of people, which I'm so grateful for, and I love them, and I wish them all well. I completely had to walk away from that. I had to leave everybody. I had to leave everything that I knew so that I could create something new.
Wow, I'm just feeling waves of like, whoa.
And that's when I moved to Hot Springs, 2019.
So that was part of the getting away from the whole thing. You're going to move here, and you knew, like, what was it that drew you here?
Well, I'd talked to my mother a few times about coming to Hot Springs, but what actually shifted, it just shifted in a day. The woman that I was with, off and on, I was at her house, we had kind of gotten into it, and, well, first I went through this, I'll tell you this part. I went through this whole experience after having these awakenings through these plant medicines and meditation and stillness and silence, and I got laid off at my job. It was that time, and there people were getting laid off, and then I was going through this shift, and I just started giving everything that I owned away. I gave away 2 30-foot campers, a Ford F-150, 4 motorcycles.
Just gave it away to people you knew, or like Craigslist giveaway,
no,
or
just to people I knew.
Gave it all away.
And I put a tent on both sides of the Arkansas River. I kept my car. That's the only thing I kept pretty much, and some clothes. And I just lived like that for a little while.
You had a tent on each side of the river, so you'd spend the night in one and then go to the other?
Yeah, just depending on what side I was on, I'd stay there.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What is that? What? That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you had 2 tents in nature by the river, and you had a car, and you were figuring yourself out.
Yeah, I was returning to nature.
And I mean, growing up in Arkansas, I make the assumption that you had spend a lot of time in nature, but did you? I don't know.
Absolutely. I grew up in the nature. It's like we stayed outside. That's how we lived, and our punishment was having to come inside. Get your butt in here, you're in trouble. But no, I was all boys. Stayed in the water, the mud, the dirt, the grass, playing outside, doing sports. Yes.
So you were in these tents, and you're like, I can go back to this place I know. By which side of the river was there some? It sounds so interesting to me. What does that mean? It depends on which side I was on. Like, I'm on the dark side. What does that mean?
No, I just got the North Little Rock side and the Rock side. I just spent time with in different places. Just depends. They were both beautiful settings, and I had one of them. The tents that I had was just right on the beach, by the soccer fields in Murphy Park, which was gorgeous. But there was people in and out there, so the one on the North Little Rock side was a bit more private.
And so in just a couple months, you stopped amphetamines. You were doing all this solo journeying. And tell me, what else?
Yeah, and so I did that for a little while, and then it started getting super cold. So I took myself back to the girl the woman I was off and on with, who just lived a couple miles up the road on Cantrell. And I was there for a little bit, and we had kind of gotten into it about something where she was on me, and I was trying to not pay any attention to it, and I just I just broke down and started crying, and just like, I can't do this. Like, my soul was telling me, it's time to do something. And so I went and stayed, and on I forget the name of it, Holcomb Heights. I stayed on the apartments in Holcomb Heights in the parking lot in my car. I stayed the night there, and when I woke up in the morning, it was just this profound pull, this profound feeling that said, go to Hot Springs, go to Hot Springs, go to Hot Springs. So that's what I did. And I went to Walmart. I bought a big tent. I found an abandoned home in Hot Springs that was secluded, and I put my tent in their yard, and I stayed there for 2 weeks. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a clue what I was doing there. And so, as I was trying to figure it out, I went back to the VA again, to the rehabilitation center, the VA, while I was trying to figure it out. And while I was figuring it out, these profound shifts were happening, that everybody was feeling it, radiating from me, and the rehab, and everything had shifted. And so...
Did you feel a sense of support from the people who knew you that were technically your old life you were moving away from, as well as the VA people, and you were doing these energetic shifts? Were they like, yeah, that's great? Or were they like, oh, maybe you're mentally ill, we're going to put you,
A little bit of both. But for the most part, they even though they didn't understand it, they could see it in me. It was a presence that they could, feel on a soul level, but not understand on an intellectual level. And so... while they didn't understand it, they honored it and appreciated it, and didn't make me feel any type of way about choosing to walk away from all of it. So
and it's so amazing. I just want to honor those people. It's so amazing that the VA has supported you, that we have a system that recognizes how difficult it is. So many things. There's so many levels of support that are there, and you were supported by them through this.
Absolutely.
That's great.
I'm a huge advocate for the VA system and psychedelics.
I don't know why there's fuzz. Let's see if it's because it's our time. Oh, it is. So I am saying the thing. You are listening to Love Now. This is Seabird. I'm talking to Dustin Ramsey. And this is 102.5 FM, KUHS Hot Springs. All right, we did that thing. And
nice voice. I like that.
Yeah. Do you need a drink break, a bathroom break, a place, a little music comfortable break, or do you want to keep talking?
Let's keep talking.
Okay. I hear this fuzz that I don't know. Do you hear a fuzz, or is it my headphone?
No, I hear it.
It came out of nowhere. Where is that sound coming from? If only I knew. I don't know.
Well, maybe this interview will get the KUHS station to want to update their systems.
Yes.
So that we can do more interviews on here.
Yes. I feel like I could talk to you for the next 3 days on here, and I would be satisfied because I could go literally. Everything that we've covered so far, I could ask you hours of questions about each part because I'm so curious. It's so interesting. But we're not going to ask hours. Ooh, well, I don't know. Something just did that happen for you? We see it just went from stereo to not stereo for us. We don't know why. Excuse me. Okay. So. Thank you for the system that has supported Dustin to come into the awareness that he is currently in. And let's find out. Is your hand on the mic making those sounds? I think it is. Move your hand. Yeah. Is there any knobs or things that maybe that's part of what changed? There's a knob or a switch on there. I can hear everything you're touching. I don't know why.
I can too.
Oh well. So be it.
So be it.
Yes. So you're having these major shifts. You're living in a tent. You don't know anyone. How, so you're going to the VA meeting people there, but what other people are coming up? Or are you just staying in your tent and you're like, I'm in my tent? Or
no, I would go out. I mean, I was the awareness of oneness and love that awakened within me on a profound level, and there was just so much joy radiating from me because I had this newfound awareness, or actually a remembrance of who and what we are as expressions of love. And so I kept having these profound conversations and meetings, divine appointments with people, and I was still going to New Life Church, I think, and off of Chanel, and then I was going to the Ecumenical Buddhist Society Temple and off of Cantrell.
So you were keeping your Little Rock stuff pretty strong. You were still going back a bunch.
Yeah. And so, I was trying to figure out what all this stuff was. Getting messages from the church and from the Buddhist temple and from nature and from, of course, these are all awakening within me. And, I was at the VA, and I stayed there for a little bit. And I met this group. What do they go by? They started putting on an event called Floating, where we would go out and have flow props and like poi and staff and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm going to say that for people who don't understand. It's like lingo he's talking that I barely get. So what I understand him to mean is that there are certain things that one holds and moves one body around. That's called flow. And you flow with these kind of objects, which might be, Dustin I know does fire, into music, and you flow a certain flow. Is that what you're saying with those words?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They're like props that we have in our hands and stuff that allows our body to come into a state of meditation through movement. And it's profound. It helps shift your awareness. It takes you out of the past or the future and puts you in the present moment, and it's powerful.
I wonder about that. This is just we've been talking about you, and I'm just veering off a little as a general question. Because personally, I know fewer men who have gone through an experience like you're describing than women. I know a lot more women who have a wider awareness. And I wonder if you would think that the flow, because it's an embodiment practice instead of a mental or stillness practice, that would actually in some way assist men more because there's an action to it and a movement to it. I don't know.
Quite possibly. Yeah, I know in the communities, from what I've seen, there's definitely more men who do it. So it very well could be.
Huh. And so you got into that. You were doing that with people. You met people that way.
Yeah, I'd started, let's see, I think October of 2019, I went to my first music festival, Wakan, the very first one, and up in Mulberry Mountain. And it was the day I got out of rehab at the VA. And my friend Stu here in Hot Springs, local here in Stu.
Had you just met him? Had you recently met him?
Yeah, I had met him through a couple different friends and met him at the Flownick, and we had a couple different run-ins, and he had told me to come move in with him. He was like, dude, get out of there, come move with me in Hot Springs. He's got this huge manor. It's gorgeous, a Victorian manor, it's so gorgeous. And so I did that, but the day that I left the VA, I went to a music festival with a friend, Jordan Dainhauer. And wow, that just completely blew my mind. Like, people were dressing up all crazy, like as fairies and bunnies and all different kinds of things. Everybody was dressed up in their costumes because it was just, they were just expressing themselves. And some of them were half naked, and everybody was doing psychedelics and wow, I had never experienced that before. And of course, I jumped full in and dosed on quite a bit of things.
Ooh. So you had a little bit of culture shock, and then you mixed that culture shock with some more expansive medicines.
Absolutely.
And are there points in this story at which you, and I'm sorry if I'm trying to probe for this, but there's a part of me that's like, you don't need the medicines. Why do you have to have the medicines? It isn't, but I'm not, maybe you did. I don't know what's right for you. My question is there times when you're like, oh, I relied on that stuff too much, or, oh, it's something.
I definitely had points where I was overdoing it, and it didn't take too much to bring it to reel it back in, because I became surrounded with friends who would mirror that back. So, but for me, they were a huge. I wouldn't be sitting in the seat right now had I not had those experiences, every single one of them. And so,
yeah.
I'm so grateful for them, and they don't have to be used to come into this state of awareness, and they can help accelerate you into this state of awareness if you choose to partake in them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, do it through ceremonies in a more professional setting, and these other ways help me get to where I'm at, so I can't say that don't do it.
Right, yeah.
I won't say don't do it, because I know what it did for me.
Yeah. So you found festivals, it blew your mind, and you're like, I'm all in, you jumped in, and then what?
Yeah, that was a completely transformative experience and culture shock. Wow, I love this. Let's do it. And so I moved in with came to Hot Springs. After that, moved in with Stu, an amazing guy, and a very colorful guy. Yeah,
a complex human, just like you.
Yes,
turns out.
Yeah, he's a wizard of sorts, and so he was very educated in plant medicines, and he had a PhD in pleasure and having a good time, parties and stuff like that. And so, Yeah, so I started stepping into that on a different level.
And so did you start asking yourself, oops, let me just look at any feedbacks I've got here in case they're important. Oh, closer to the microphone. I'm getting a feedback for you to be closer to the microphone, but I know you have it like up to your mouth.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, I just got that. And that's something else. Okay. So I'm imagining, so that's why my question is like this. I'm imagining that you're starting to ask yourself, like, what am I going to do in the world with this energy? I mean, being it is enough, and I know being it is enough, but also we have days and time, and did you start thinking about that?
Well, so I guess I skipped a part. And at the end of 2019, before I went to this festival, I guess around summertime of 2019, I was at the VA and I received like this bright flash of light in my third eye, just like a and I had this vision or a remembrance that I was supposed to start a movement called Global Unified Body of Love and Consciousness.
Ooh, so global unified body of consciousness?
Of love and consciousness.
Of love. So what are the initials?
Gooblack.
Gooblack. I had to start gooblacking.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Uh-huh. So say it again one more time slowly, please.
Global Unified Body of Love and Consciousness.
Uh-huh. So what is the vision?
No, the mission is to spread the message of oneness and love, to raise the vibration of the collective consciousness for the reawakening of our true self within the human experience.
Mm-hmm. Which is what we're doing right now.
That's what we're doing right now.
And what we each do every day to the best of our abilities, soul brother.
Indeed. And through that, I was trying to find myself, because I've been this totally other different identity, and so I was allowing these other identities to fall away, and so I was dipping into new cultures and new ways of being, and I think it got a little wild at times.
How did it go in terms of relating romantically? I don't know, sexually or what? Like you're becoming a different person in relationships and all of this thing. What was that? And you don't have to go there if you don't want to. It just sounds so complicated, and I'm curious.
Yeah, well, I decided to focus on myself and not do relationships for 3 years.
Uh-huh.
That's what Spirit said, just do you for 3 years, and so that's what I did.
Excellent. So that leads to another excellent question, which is, so you said Spirit said, so you learned to listen inward, and you learned more and more strongly how to listen inward.
Absolutely.
And that was happening from 2014. I mean, from birth on. Obviously it's from birth on.
It's always been there.
Yeah, but how can you, like, wherever you want to go with that, can you describe for the crystals and the water and the human ears of those who will be listening to this that are also wondering about, how do I hear that clearer without distortion, and know that it's pure, and to let it direct, like how tell.
Yeah, well, that voice is always there from childhood, and we're doing with it as children. We start receiving conditions and programs, and then we have to start getting these we start repressing our true self, and because society wants us to be a certain type of way, and to fit into that, we have to not be who you truly are for the most part, and so you start shutting that voice out. But it's there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to fit in to these molds and societal norms. By doing that, we completely shut that voice out, because that's not who we're meant to be. We all have a unique blueprint and characteristics and qualities and virtues and attributes that we're meant to bring through, and we can't do that if we're trying to fit into somebody else's box of what they think we're supposed to be. And so
how did you start hearing yours, and how did you start trusting it? And did it take a long time to build the trust and the clarity, or?
No, once that well, 2019 was, well, I guess further back, I started listening to it more and more. 2014, 2017, there was different levels of it. And I think 2017 I had really come on strong. And
this was still solo, no therapy. Like, I'm going to connect you because this is what I do professionally, is connect people with that voice. So, as the person who does it, is like, was anyone telling you, or you were like YouTubing it, or it was all internal?
For me, I didn't really get on social media or anything like that till like 2019. So it was happening internally, and
Not from books or anything. It was just an inner.
I had that one book I read in 2017 that helped. That helped me shift into a creator, to being a creator of my reality instead of a victim of it.
How did you realize during that time, because it sounds murky to me and I'm interested, how did you realize it was you and your higher self as opposed to something outside of you that, What?
Yeah, because it drew me to want to be a more authentic and kind and compassionate person. But when I listened to it, it drew me into feeling more connected to truth and just goodness and joy. And so the other voice doesn't. It leads me astray. And I just got to a point where I was tired of going astray. And so the only thing that made sense was okay, I've done this other part, but I haven't listened to this. So why don't I listen to this and see what happens?
Right.
And everything was shifting me to that. So.
And what I hear you say, and I'm going to ask you though, is you're using your emotions as an indicator, because you named a lot of emotions that you were like, I'm going to go towards those ones. And astray you didn't name, but was that an action indicator or an emotion indicator? What is astray?
When astray?
Yeah, like when it was like, I've gone that way and it didn't work. Was it because I felt angry, or was it because like other people, I did it?
I felt disconnected.
You felt disconnected.
Yeah. I didn't know who I was. I felt lost. I felt like an outcast because I didn't fit into societal norms, and I refused to do that. But I didn't do it in a way that was connected to source, but just in a rebellious kind of way of, this doesn't work, so I'm going to do it my way.
And so, but then you decided to start kind of following these sensations of joy, of goodness, of compassion. You named some other words there.
Love, sweet love. Yeah. In 2019, I had this profound experience that the only thing that made sense to me anymore was to completely follow this inner voice, this inner knowing that had awakened within me. And nothing else mattered other than to follow this inner knowing and this inner voice.
Were there times when you were like, I thought that was the inner voice, but it was actually blah-de-blah?
No, it's... At times I think about it, I'm like, well, this happened. No, it's always been that.
So for me, and I'm sure it's different for you, I can only relate from my experience. The time when I hear those inner voices with a lot of clarity is when I'm doing writing, because when I have to bring it through into words, then I get a lot more detailed and specific. So for me, it's like a tuned in time where I do this writing, that I get those messages, and then I get other sensations besides that, but it's a lot less clear than writing. It's more sensational and not like, do this or what's it like for you? Is it like a constant? Is it like I hear it right now all the time, or is it certain way? How do you?
Through feeling. I navigate it through feeling. And what you said with the writing, it was that I do that a lot too. Whenever I'm able to write, it becomes clearer. I get this intuitive nudge and this feeling to go this way or that way. Even though sometimes I might not know why, I still do it, and it always turns out, beautiful and magical. But whenever I write it down, it becomes more clearer. And that's why I got stuff with it today that I wrote, because I can channel that energy into more clarity when I can write it down.
Ooh, I want to look at some of that stuff. I also want to ask, because you said through feeling, and that's such a generalized word. I just want to get a little specific. Is there physical physical sensations as a type of feeling? Emotions as a type of feeling? There's all different What do you mean by feeling?
A mixture of chemicals in the body.
Oh.
That let's see, putting it in words. Yeah. I don't guess I really know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a knowing in there that this is what feels right. I don't guess I've ever tried to define feelings.
Is it? It leads me to another question: was the responses you would get from others? Was that part of when you feel that something is you're clear in your purpose and you're clear in your movement towards it? Is it as though others respond in a certain way and you can sense that, or not? Like others don't really even have anything to do with it.
Like outside validation.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's what I'm asking. If that's something, what that's like for you.
Well, whenever I walk in my purpose, just spreading oneness and love, spreading the awareness of oneness, love, just just simply being love, and remembering that we're all interconnected and one, and it just naturally happens, and so.
I think some of what you're writing, I think I'm trying to ask you a question that is actually stuff that you've written about. So you go ahead, take it. What have you got written here? What is the walking in love? What is the walking in beingness for you? I think that's what I'm asking in a confused way.
I wrote down this about the travels and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're doing good. Let's see what time it is. But yeah, we got perfect amount of time to talk about this stuff. So, okay, so we were kind of getting some clarity on what it is like for you to listen inwards, which is the answer is always it's a completely personal thing and different for everybody, and it changes even internally for everybody. There is no answer to that question. So, is there anything? So you started the Gublak. So you got the vision of Gublak in 2019, and then what?
I just started the path of returning to my true self, my divine nature. So I was on a path of finding myself, which you call like the dark night of the soul, walking away from everything and starting from scratch, allowing those old identities to die and to integrate them. And yeah, the vision was to create events that promoted holistic healing and create those kind of environments. And I found some communities here that was already in resonance with that. We created a tribe here, a serotonin tribe. Well, it was already created, but we helped amplify that presence here in Hot Springs in a big way. We started creating events and having gatherings and stuff where we would bring people together and dance and just have fun and have healing experiences. And the Star Portal here was a huge support system for that transition for me.
And then, so you did a bunch here. You were in Hot Springs, kind of starting events, going to events, expanding your awareness.
Yeah, I was going to all kind of events. I was signing up for all kinds of things because I wanted to feel and experience all these different modalities of ways that people connected to healing, to source, to their spiritual essence, and from to their past, to their childhood wounds. So yeah, I did all these different things, past life regressions, and medicine retreats, different plant medicines and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And then when
it's a journey.
Yeah,
I'm still on it.
It's a never-ending journey. That's the fun part.
Exactly.
We just get to enjoy it more and more as time unfolds. So you started. So this is all in the Arkansas kind of general area, and then how long ago did you get an impulse to start going out of Arkansas?
What do you mean, like traveling?
Yeah.
Well, that would have been a part of the vision, because it's a global unified body. And so it just took a little while to be in alignment with that vibration to be able to manifest it. So because I still had lots of debt and lots of fines and warrants.
Oh boy! So you had
from past life. I mean, not past life.
Right.
From past encounters with the law and stuff.
So you had to do a lot of disentangling financially and legally and karmically.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. So you did.
Yeah, $12,000 later. $12,000 later. Probably actually more than that. But it was a process, and but it's finally complete. It's wrapped up, and so once I started paying all that stuff off, then I was able to get a passport. And then off I go. Yeah, and you've been going everywhere. It's incredible. Obviously I don't know all the places, and people listening, and the crystals, can you just, I don't know if you can, name off, did this start about a year and a half ago? It started the day after my birthday, July 9th. No, I left on my birthday, July 8th.
Oh, wow.
Last year.
July 8th last year, so a year and...
Not even a year.
Oh, not even a year? That's hard for me to believe, because you've been so many places. Okay, just name a list.
Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Korea, Germany, China, Japan, Egypt, and Mexico is where I've been in that time.
You're really good at being on airplanes.
I like flying high. It seems like when I'm in the air, there's always some kind of solar thing going on too, like an eclipse or, a full moon or something like that. So I enjoy being up there.
So that's a lot of places in a short amount of time, and how is the mission going? Where do you want to go with this? There's so many interesting things, and where do you...
Well, it's all, the mystery is unfolding itself, and so though I have a general overview of it, I don't have a foolproof plan. I'm just following where Spirit's leading me. I'm walking by faith and not by sight, and allowing it to unfold, and I'm still finding myself and my voice and my truth and my courage, and so I'm not rushing it, and just allowing it to unfold.
So for me, and the way that I tune in to nature and the land, and there are certain ways that I work with other groups and planetarily, which the loose term that seems to be arising to reference this is called grid work.
Yes.
So could you give your definition? I gave a weird sketch right there. What would you call grid work?
What would I call grid work? Would be to consciously put our intentions into what I do. Is consciously put my intentions into crystals and gems, and put them into the ground or in water to elevate the frequency of Earth, to bring healing energies, to help humanity reconnect to the network of consciousness, to just permeate that energy throughout the whole Earth, and to connect different power points in different areas through the work that we're doing. It lights up a grid.
So when you're going to a place, what do you, like, I know you're listening, and it's going to be different every time. But is there some kind of general parameters of the way you were doing your crystal intentions and placing? Are other people involved? And
just wherever I move to go, I always carry crystals with me. And magically, sometimes that I just end up in a ceremony where people are already doing it, and so I just add my energy to that and my intentions. But yeah, I put crystals in the water everywhere I go. More or less. As I'm traveling, it's more in the water because it's a lot easier that way rather than carrying a shovel with me.
Right. Well, plus the water is the same.
Yeah.
It's gonna connect the fastest, easiest, and clearest.
Absolutely.
And so tell me about what are the waters around the world telling you when you're communicating with them and connecting with the crystals. What are you hearing from the water in all those different places? I know many things, but is there some general?
What I hear from the waters? I don't really know.
I guess I talk to water a lot,
Yeah.
so I listen to water quite a bit. Maybe you don't. So let me ask a question that's tailored to you. When you're tuned in doing that, what are you hearing? What's
just an intuitive nudge to go and do this.
And what are you feeling in your heart? Like, what are your words? What's on your paper? What is the message? How is the oneness coming about?
Well, I mean, the way that I do it, I don't put too much thought into these things. It just naturally happens, and so I don't plan them. I just show up, and I have a crystal, and some intentions want to come through, or connect to spirit, my higher self, and sometimes, some galactic beings, and receive a transmission, put it in the crystal, and then put it into the water. So it's not like this planned out thing that I do. It just naturally happens.
Are there some themes in the transmissions?
Awaken, return to center, return to our axis, forgiveness, compassion, healing the different traumatic energies that happen in certain locations, wars and stuff like that. The basic overall message is just to send you column of light to beam and radiate this compassionate, loving energy that knows that we're all one and we're all connected, and that returning to that and returning to love is the only way that we're going to shift the consciousness of the planet.
You said the word forgiveness, and I find in my communications with people, a lot of people are confused about forgiveness. There is a lot of confusion about forgiveness and a reactivity and resistance. I wonder about that. Tell me about your experiences around that.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a resistance to it. Because, well, in my experience, so this is Arkansas is pretty much a Christian place, right? And so I've talked to many people about this, Jesus' message was like, forgive and you'll be forgiven. And like, forgiveness is the way. You have to forgive. Whatever you're holding on to, you're not forgiving yourself. Whatever someone has done to you and you're still holding on to is because you haven't learned to forgive yourself for that. And so forgiveness is just a natural law of the universe, and in order to move in. So I'll just give you that which we condemn is condemns us back, and that which we hold in the darkness pulls us to that darkness. Likewise, that which we hold in the light pulls us to that light, and that which we blesses us back. That's just the natural law of oneness. And so if we're holding these resentments and these angers and these traumas, and this person did this and I'll never forgive them, then you cannot be in a state of coherence, because there's a distortion within you. And so I found this and here in Arkansas a lot, and around the world, where people love Jesus but don't want to follow his teachings. It's a clear teaching. If you don't forgive others, you can't be forgiven. And that's by yourself. It's not by an outside entity.
Right. And this brings up to me the also the word victim. I think in my experience, a lot of people who are resistant to forgiveness are also people who, whether they say it or not, a lot of people, it's like a code word now. Oh, I'm not a victim, right? People will say that, but they don't know what the follow through is. And the follow through is forgiving. That essentially in it's, well, I can't forgive them because they're doing this to me. I'm not doing anything actually here. I am the victim of this. I am the victim of the circumstances. It's not up to me to forgive. And I'm powerless here. Like, what? Do you find that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's two different states. You got victim consciousness, you got creator consciousness. And until you know that you're the creator of your reality, then maybe because there are a lot of atrocities that happen in this world, and a lot of injustices that are hard to forgive. It's set up. This Earth School is set up like that, so that we can experience separation and duality. But inevitably, when you start to return to spirit and awaken, you remember that, oh, I set this up as a soul level, even though you may not remember it. Like, oh, I set this up on a soul level to be able to have this experience, so that I can learn to forgive, so that I can learn to love my neighbor as myself, so that I can learn to remember that we are all one expression of a unified source. And so it's some pretty traumatic lessons here sometimes. I mean, it's, wow, you see the stuff that happens in the world. But inevitably, if you want to live what Yeshua actually taught, if you want to live what the masters of the heart know and teach, you have to forgive. There's no way around it. Forgiveness is key. Forgiveness, acceptance. And so you can hold on to that all you want, but until you learn that the only way through it is through forgiveness. So,
do you find that in different parts of the world, I mean, obviously different cultures have different concepts around forgiveness. We're talking about something that's ineffable in a way. But is it an American thing to be resistant to forgiveness, or is this like everywhere-ish, or what?
I don't know. Well, the Buddhist people that I know are pretty forgiving. And I mean, there's a lot of Christian people that I know are very forgiving. I don't really know about Muslim, but the way that Buddhists kind of explain it is through acceptance, learning to let go and accept what is, and not hold on to it, and allow it to flow through, feel it, and it's not like we're just ignoring it. We have to integrate it. There's reasons why it happened, and those reasons hold keys that help us unlock like our next stage. Yeah. So a theme for forgiveness worldwide, we all need it. Yeah. And so we can sit up here and condemn and judge what other people are doing in the world, but the work is not out there. Our work is inside internally. And so we can bless those people that have persecuted and condemned us and abused us, instead of sending hate their way, because what you send out is what you get back. You send hate, you're going to get that back. You're going to learn to love them and bless them.
Yeah, I think, and that for me brings up the word responsibility, which is another one of these complex words of taking responsibility as a creator being, and that the blessing, the responsibility of doing the blessing is the responsibility of receiving the blessing. And I don't even know about responsibility in other cultures and the way it's different approached. I don't know. What else? What else is on your? What else in your notes? Like, kind of what things are we touching on here?
Well, I kind of went through some themes of. So, following the vision I received 6 years ago, global unified body above my consciousness finally got to an alignment where I can travel and go and connect different networks and tap into different cultures. What I found through it all is that understanding our inherent oneness.
Closer, yes.
That understanding our inherent oneness and leading with love is the key, and it can contribute to a higher vibration for humanity. And when we recognize our shared essence, fear and division dissolve, making way for understanding, empathy, and cooperation. And this shift in awareness is in the collective consciousness is key to a more peaceful and harmonious world.
Mm-hmm. So in a daily way, like practical way, what is leading with love to you? Like, what does this look like?
It's easy.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's really simple. You just, but it takes practice. It takes practice. And what I do personally is I just constantly keep in my awareness that everything outside of me is a reflection of me, and everything outside of me is one with me. So what I do is I'm wholeheartedly working on loving myself, all of me. And so to love myself, I have to love everything outside, regardless of what it looks like, which means to recognize the light within all beings as an expression of the one creator. And so leading with love is to honor that light within all beings, and being kind and gentle and merciful and compassionate and giving, forgiving, and just being of service in every possible opportunity. Leading with love is just like opening a door, telling someone hello, smiling at someone, letting people know you love them, even if they're a stranger, just telling people. And what leading with love looks like being authentic and expressing yourself regardless of what others may think about you. Because, I wear some pretty wild outfits. And
oh man, I was going to say that in my introduction. I was definitely going to talk about your style in my introduction, and I forgot that part. But yes, you look good.
Thank you. It's what resonates with me since I came into this state is being colorful, because we're all rays of the rainbow, and so I dress how I want to dress. I dress how I feel, and I feel colorful. I feel bright. And I don't worry about what others think about that. And my friend Stu actually helped me step into that. So shout out to Stu.
Yeah. Stu looks good too. So when you're leading with love and doing this, and then reactivity is drawn out from you, right? That whatever's happened where it's like, I did my best, but suddenly, I don't know, like what happened? When the estray comes up, what happens?
Yeah, so I still have moments where I forget who I am. I have moments where I'm still triggered and still have emotional reactions that don't reflect truth, that don't reflect love in moments. And it's just a natural state of evolving, as all these things that I suppressed, that we suppressed for. I'll just speak about me. All the things that I've suppressed for so many years have to come back up. They have to be seen. They have to be integrated. They have to be loved. And this is years and years of unconscious behavior. So it's a process of allowing it to come up and to be seen. And sometimes it's not pretty, but I have to love that too. When it's not pretty, when it's messy, because life is messy sometimes.
Do you have certain tools or techniques that you rely on that is like, oh, I can see right now I'm in it, and this is this is my next step once I recognize I'm in it?
Well, sometimes when I'm in it,
Yeah, I know. I've been in it. I've been in it plenty.
It takes
a while. Yes, there's the time. Yes, sometimes you're in it, and sometimes the answer is, I've just got to be in it. Let me be in this. Why am I trying to get out of this?
Yeah,
absolutely. There's that, and
a lot of times it's there. It's not. It's still an unconscious behavior, but you're in a state where you can see it clearly without reacting to it. So a lot of times it is like that. There's a clarity to it, and I say, oh, okay, I see that. I'm not going to react the way that I normally would have. I'm going to give this some attention and some love, and I'm going to see it for what it is, and I'm going to integrate it. And yeah,
right. So So I'm kind of referencing something you said earlier about you were guided to not have relationships for 3 years previously.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like basically a pre tool, so that a bunch of stuff didn't arise, I would imagine. And then that was like a tool that you use not being in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And so is it are there, like, for instance, for me, I might, and I bet you're really good at this. Like if I'm feeling angry, then I am going to let my body express that anger. I'm going to find a place where I can yell out loud and sit not at a person and not at anything. But I'm going to let the expression flow through me rather than simmer in me. And same physically. Like I might dance hard. I might do something else so that I express this anger not just out of my body, not at something. And so those are the kind, I could name a million tools that I like and love, and I'm asking you, like, are there some that you're really into right now that's like, this is my standby for when I recognize I need it?
Grounding myself, counting stuff on the wall. I'm doing a grounding technique there. Take my shoes off, go sit out, connected to the roots of the tree. Just lay on the ground, connect to the earth. Meditation, which can't always just immediately go into meditation. The breath is in the moment whenever these things are happening. If I become aware of it, I just return to my breath, take deep breaths, and say, okay, this is an experience I'm having. This is an experience I'm having, but it doesn't reflect exactly what I am inherently, which is one with all. And so when I can remember our inherent oneness, I can return to non-judgment, non-reactivity, and have more compassion for myself for initially feeling that way and building that behavior from the past. So
I would love a travel story of a challenge where you had to do what you just described.
Oh, wow, yeah. So, let's see, the first day of this year, I went into January 1st, 2025. I flew into Egypt at 6 o'clock in the morning, checked into my hotel, and immediately, first day of the year, I want to go to the pyramids. That's why I lined it up that way. And so that's what I did. The people at the hotel they want your business. They want to be your guide. They want to set up your trip for you. They want you to do it to them so that they can, make money and stuff, which is understandable. And so, I was like, yeah, take me to this and that. And, everybody wants a tip over there, right? So immediately, okay, well, you signed up for this. Give us a tip now. Tip. You just did your job. Why am I tipping you? So, okay, give me a tip. And so it took me, they said, you want to go to this other place, this oils and herbs place. I was like, no, I want to go to the pyramids. I came back to go to the pyramids. Okay, you're driving. Okay, you want to go to this store first? You want to go to the pyramids? I want to go to the pyramids. So they kept, and actually they went like 30 minutes out of the way. I found out later that the pyramids was just 5 minutes behind us this way. Maybe like 7 minutes this way. But they went all the way around this way while they was continuously asking me this. But I said the pyramids, all I'm going to do is go right there. I don't know. So finally I said, okay, I'll go to the store. Yeah. So I went to the store, went in there, and got some oil. I got Blue Lotus. So it was mixed with some other stuff, Blue Lotus oil. It smelled really good. It was good. It was like $50. And I was like, okay, that's all I want. I don't even want this, to be honest, because I always give everything away. And so I don't really buy stuff on my trip because it makes my luggage weigh more, and I don't, I'm just going to give it away. But as I was walking out, hey, come look at this, and pulled me over there, all the herbs and stuff, and so I was like, okay, here's some Blue Lotus. I like Blue Lotus. I like drinking the tea, and so I said, yeah, I'll take that. How much? And he's like, don't worry about it. You're not. It's just a small transaction. $10 a gram. Okay, $10 a gram. Good. When I got to the register, he had poured a bunch into the bag, and it ended up being $160. He's like, don't worry about it. But just when we got there, it's not $10. It's $160. And 60, 160, 50. It's $200 I spent within 2 hours of being there that I don't have any plans of using this stuff with. Because I ended up buying it just so I could go.
Wow, you paid it. You didn't argue.
I didn't argue. It's my first time in Egypt. It's actually a very overpowered masculine energy there. It's very persistent and consistent. I just got in there and hadn't learned to say no to all of these people. But I know how to now.
You know how to say no.
I know how to say no.
How do you say no?
No. No, I say no thank you. A lot of times I bow. No thank you. And then they'll keep following you, blah, 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 blah. But just keep walking on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so holding that, I was frustrated at myself for doing that, even though I allowed it to happen. I just wanted to get to the pyramids. I hopped back in my ride to go to the pyramids, and I was holding this frustration, this kind of anger at myself for allowing myself to buy stuff that I don't even want, just because I didn't know how to say no. Even though it was a new experience, I was still frustrated. And I'm finna go into these pyramids that I wanted to go into for so long, but I'm frustrated and got a little anger there. And wow, I don't want this. I don't want to be having this experience right now, but I am, and it's there for a reason. And so, what is it trying to tell me? What is it trying to teach me? And I've been a people pleaser for a long time, and I've went along with a lot of things just because I didn't know how to say no, just because I didn't know, didn't want to hurt other people's feelings. I didn't want to disappoint others because I had done that in my childhood so much, in my teenage years. So I became a people pleaser. And so that was the lesson in that. It's okay to hurt other people's feelings. It's okay to disappoint others as long as you're in alignment with your truth and what resonates and feels good with you. And that may come naturally to some people, but as a part of my programming, it was a difficult thing to do.
How did you discharge the energy before you went into the pyramids, or the pyramids did a thing, or like how did it play out in the moment?
In the moment, just the pyramids are powerful. Just going up and seeing those for the first time, it just kind of started to, I'm like, okay, this thing is happening, but look at where you're at. Like, why are you mad? Why are you frustrated? Look at the amazing place that you're at. People dream of coming to this place and never get to get here. Like, let it go. Like, it's absolutely okay to feel that. You got some stuff to work on there, but let's be in this moment here and let's enjoy and be grateful for what you're being allowed to experience.
Yeah. I feel that way right now. I am so grateful being allowed to experience this with you. I feel that this is fascinating, and I can't believe 2 hours have passed.
I know.
Wow, it's 12:53, and I am hoping, look at that, I just got this one story at the end. I wanted in my imagination, it's like 2 hours of stories, but I need to know all this other stuff first. But I know you're about to leave soon, right? Where are you going next?
Yes, I'm moving to Vietnam.
You're moving. You're not allowed to move.
I'm moving.
When?
Well, I leave Hot Springs on Tuesday, and I'm going to go stay with my mother and my family and my son for a little while, and I'll fly out on the 28th.
I had no idea. This is news to me.
Yep.
I didn't have any idea about this. Because my next thing was, when are you back from your next trip? And I get to hear more stories. But now I'm suddenly like, wait a minute. I don't, this isn't, how is that? That's what's happening in my brain right now.
Yeah, it's super cheap. Vietnam is a super cheap place to live. And I've made some really beautiful connections there with Thank You Life Networks. And I want to shout out to them, even though they can't hear me because they're in Vietnam. But I'm going to go over there and co-create and collaborate with them on some projects, doing some volunteer services and building up retreat centers and just being of service to humanity. And I'm going to go over there and teach people how to fire dance because it's something I'm really passionate about. The fire energy is coming through strong right now in a big way. So.
Well, I'm going to keep you here and go over. There's actually nothing for the next hour. So if you will have me, now that I know that you're leaving, I'm just going to do the thing and keep going over it. The next guy, he comes in early, Ben, but we have at least 25 minutes if we can hear more stories. Now that I know this is my last chance to have you in this way, I am going to take full advantage of it. Is that okay, or do you have to be somewhere?
I told somebody I'd meet them at 1 o'clock, but I can stay a few more minutes.
Well,
I didn't think, I honestly thought 30 minutes to an hour, but this thing has just flowed, and so.
Well, there's so much more to I mean, not that we can't do it online.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Okay.
I think that for me, there's so much juiciness and depth here, and part of it is just getting to talk to somebody who's willing to show their journey and was like in the military and as straight as can be, like not being from Arkansas and moving here and interacting with a lot of people who have their own awakenings but are on the path but far slow or something. It's like getting to broadcast this to the crystals in the clarity and the openingness and the heart and the ease and the accuracy and the quickness with which you've been able to flow through this is, to me, really, really, really important. And I honor it. And
This is a new experience for me. It's the first time I've been interviewed on the radio, so I'm very grateful and feel honored that you had me on here as your first guest. And I know you're going to do amazing and wonderful things now, and I feel like this is going to bring you more interviews, and you're going to have more listeners, and you're going to start to be able to radiate your love now energy throughout the airwaves in a big way.
Well, I hope we can set it up in Vietnam. If I can get maybe the computer setup will be easier than this this microphone setup here. But okay, so recognizing you're going to meet someone and we have a smaller amount of time left, what is there that you would like to broadcast in whatever way?
Yeah, we're going, for me, our collective purpose to come into Earth is to raise the vibration of the planet collectively. And the only way that we can do that is by individually working on ourselves, because we're each a neuron in the network of consciousness. We're a neuron in the Earth. If we're out of balance, we're bringing a cancer to the Earth. But when we can live in harmony and with nature and with our brothers and sisters in a coherent heart and mind, coherent and balanced way, we can help shift the consciousness of the whole planet. And that's why we came here. We came to raise the vibration. The only way that I know how to do that is through love and remembering our inherent oneness with all of life. If we're constantly thinking that something outside of us is disconnected from us and judging it and condemning it, we're in those moments we have forgotten who we are. And so by remembering who we are, it's just pure innocence.
Yes.
Pure innocence. We can return to love. And when we return to love, it lights up the whole grid. the whole Earth star. Earth is a very sacred star, and we chose to came here because we have soul lessons and karma and stuff like that we have to play out, and those are a part of the things that we have to learn to untangle and doing shadow work, to bring those to bring those shadows into the light and realize that they're meant to be loved. They're not something to be ashamed of or afraid of, but rather to be integrated within ourselves so that it can be integrated on a collective level. Because what's happening within us is happening on a global scale as well. And so forgiveness. It's big. It's been so powerful in my journey, and I've done a lot of things. I've hurt a lot of people in my life because, I didn't know no better. Even though I think I was supposed to know better. But, I was disconnected from my spiritual essence, from my soul self. And until we remember that and reconnect with that, regardless of what tradition or religion or non-religion or mystical way, until we reconnect with that, we're just walking around lost. And when we're walking around lost, we have no purpose. And there's no real joy in that. And so let's help our brothers and sisters return to joy and find their purpose. And the way that I'm able to do that is just simply by being kind and gentle and loving and radiating love in every moment, and forgiving myself when I don't, because I have moments. It's a process. It's a journey. So what I would want people to know is just that you can do it. Like, I did it. I never thought that I would be where I'm at now. But now that I know, it was my whole life path, everything that I've done, every right or wrong, air quotes, was always a part of my divine path to bring me back into the awareness of oneness and love. And so I've learned to stop shaming myself for those things and stop blaming others. We have to take responsibility for our actions and our creation and our soul lessons. And when we do that, we can really step into an embodiment of Christ consciousness, which is love and forgiveness, compassion, and oneness with all beings.
I'm going to say the thing, and then I'm going to ask you a question. This is 102.5 KUHSF. But FM. KUHS FM radio. This is Love Now. Hot Springs, Arkansas. Thank you for that. That was very concise. And I wonder, I mentioned to you when you came in about this Mars going direct in Leo, and like this is a celebration of Mars energy, masculine energy direct in Leo. And I wonder if there's something along the lines of what you just said that you would say in particular to male-bodied beings, to men in our society and beyond.
Yeah. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. I know it's hard. As men, we're taught to be tough and strong and not show any weakness and don't cry to be the protector. And, we have to be kind of hard asses. But when we can let that walk, we can still be protective and strong and fierce, and do our masculine duties without being out of balance with the feminine. And so, if we can allow ourselves to open up and to feel what we've suppressed, what we've denied, what we have denounced and not owned within ourselves, those shadows, we can start to soften our heart. We can drop down out of the mind and into the heart to allow it to soften, to let those heart walls down, to be able to return to our innocence, our shared inherent divinity. And we have to bring our feminine aspects into balance, our surrender. So we have to surrender for sure and learn to flow and trust
I have a question about that. Since you solo manned your plant medicine journey, if somebody was doing they're like, I hear what he's saying, and I have these walls that I don't even have any idea. But what advice would you give in terms of medicines and techniques?
Well, I've seen it. It'll just. I feel like it happens naturally. You may have these walls built up for so long because society says this and it'll do this and that and that. But when we come to a state of really wanting to change, it's not even really a state of wanting to change. It's like your soul is pushing you to change. You'll know that, you'll be aware of that, and those walls that we have built up they kind of just go down on themselves when we can learn to trust that what our soul is pulling us to is something greater than what we've known, and it's leading us to something greater than ourselves. And so I've noticed that those walls just naturally fall down. People still have questions and concerns, but it just seems to naturally happen. I've noticed it even in my family that once it's time to shift, you're gonna shift. And as we trust it more and more, let those walls down, it just happens naturally.
So I'm going to make an interpretation of what you just said, that you didn't actually pay attention to the medicines part at all. And I think that's because the medicines are a possibility. But the key word you used, the real thing is, that's the medicine, is trust.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, medicines are profound for me in my experience. It's not for everybody. But if you feel it calling you, trust it. It's calling you for a reason. And just surrender to it.
But trust beyond that. Like, what is, dear Dustin,
yes.
What is trust?
Knowing that everything is being guided by divine intelligence. Knowing that there is a plan that is greater than us that we do not have to know, but just simply surrender to. And it can look like many different things. Within you, you'll know it, you'll feel it. It's just surrendering to know that all is well, and the divine intelligence that permeates everything, that is everything, is guiding this entire dream.
Yeah, that's it. I think we just closed with that. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds good.
That was lovely. So you're going to be in Vietnam. Is there any way for people to connect with you, support your mission? Anything in those directions for you too?
Yeah. Let's see. I wanted to mention that we're going to bring back our holistic healing festival for Elevate, September 28th.
Will you be back?
I don't think so. No, I helped orchestrate it from Vietnam, but Kristen Blecky from Awakened Soul and Jessica McGrew is going to, from the Holistic Healing Community, is going to help bring it into fruition. And so I'm excited about that. That'll be September 28th at the Farmers Market. We'll bring more about that here in the next month or so. And if you'd like to know more about what I've been doing, my mission, some more mission statements, and some different communities and networks to connect into, you can look on www.alliancefornewearth.com, and I have a huge list of guiding lights for people to connect into who want to know more information. And I have so many different modalities and different ways of connecting with spirit from different people and different avenues that you're sure to find something that'll resonate with you in there.
Nice. Yeah. Alliancefornewearth.com.
Yes, absolutely. Because it shifted from Gubalak was a lot to remember.
It was. You never said it shifted until now. So now we know. Yeah, I kind of knew. I was like, are these two different things? No. All right, so it shifted to Alliance for New Earth.
Yes.
So alliancefornewearth.com.